trying to watch the chat and trying to watch you guys, but hi, I am Dana and welcome to my kitchen. So we're really new at this, so hopefully you'll have a little bit of patience with us. Behind the camera over there is Robbie, my significant other. Also in doggy timeout is Rocky, the raptor, and Otis, the old man over there, because they would not stop fighting, and they were loud. And then there are yard guys who decided to show up right now. So we may hear them kind of in the background too. So thank you guys for coming. First thing I'm going to tell you is I'm not a chef. I am just a home cook. I learned how to cook from my mom and my grandma, and I love being in the kitchen. Can you hear that? It's pretty loud. Hopefully you can still hear me. Tonight I'm going to make one of my just kind of comfort foods. It was one of my favorite things my mom made, which was just a pork loin with mashed potatoes and peas and applesauce. But I'm doing kind of my riff on it. So we're actually going to be making a pork tenderloin that is stuffed with apples and pancetta. But we're still going to make the classic mashed potatoes, and we're also going to do some frozen peas. So I have not actually started doing anything yet. So lucky you get to watch me mash potatoes or peel potatoes, which is really exciting. So let me get something so I can stand over here and read your chat. My thing keeps turning off. I'm gonna have to figure that out. There we go. I saw that Cody had asked me where the steak was already, and no steak tonight, Cody, but we'll do that some night. You'll have to come over and help me fix it when we do that. Thank you, King of APOC. I like my kitchen too. And it is nice and big, and I have my double ovens. When we originally moved into this house, the same tile that was on the floor was on the island. I didn't have gas on the stove. I had a single oven that kind of worked. So this was kind of my dream, was to redo my kitchen, which got done, about 2 years ago? Is when I redid the kitchen?
Yeah, about that.
About 2 years ago. If you're lucky, you'll get to hear Robbie. He doesn't talk too terribly much. You heard someone laugh. Do you get any snacks? Sure. Here's how you do that. You go to your pantry or your cabinet and you open it and you see if there's anything in there. But if you're ever here, I would definitely make you snack. I'm looking over here. You're over here, aren't you? Sorry. I'm gonna do this. How's that? I'll get it. Just like yesterday, I posted that I was going live for this, and I meant today, and I forgot to put that, so some people were trying to look for me yesterday. So, I'm human. I make mistakes, so you'll get to see that. All right. Let's see here. I do prefer to cook with gas as well. It's native tam, is that how you say that? It's hard to manage the heat on things when you're using electric because it takes so long for the coils. And this one was actually a flat top one, so that ceramic kind of one that was up here before, and then it gets all scratched. So. And the deep sink does make things much easier. I think Robbie is my dishwasher. I mean, I have a dishwasher, but Robbie does the dishes. He loves doing the dishes, don't you, Robbie?
It's so fun.
So I'm really lucky about that, but I do like that big sink as well. Let's see. Oh, when cooking with a wok, I don't even know how you can cook with a wok on an electric stove, because you just can't. You got to get that heat up on the sides of the wok in order to make it work better. All right, so I've only got 3 of these. I'm going to do 4 potatoes that hopefully will be enough for Robbie and I. When I grew up, we made so many mashed potatoes. We were such a mashed potato family, and that for 4 of us, we would make 5 pounds of potatoes for a meal. That's how much we loved mashed potatoes. And sometimes we actually had leftovers, and sometimes we didn't. So, all right, are you having fun watching me peel potatoes? I can't speak today. What is wrong with me? All right, almost done with that. Now, here's what we're going to do. After I do this, I'm going to chop these up. I'm going to put them in cold water. So one of the things, and I keep looking down here, and you're up here. One of the things about cooking potatoes, and I've tried it both ways. I've tried it going from boiling water and tried doing it from cold water. And for some reason, they seem to mash a little better and cook a little better when they go from cold. So you put the potatoes in cold water with some salt, and then get those babies boiling until they are fork tender. All right, so now I'm gonna go over here. Dish number 1 for you. And I just do slices. And I tell you what, I've been making mashed potatoes for like 35 years. And I've tried everything, and I've messed them up every single way you can think of. So try to get your pieces cut relatively even so they cook at the same rate. And you put them in there. And then we'll get them all in there. Mine are not all even because you know what? I'm not a chef. So I do the best that I can. All right. And then, dry my hands off. And then again, Robbie thinks this is a pinch of salt. I think this is a pinch of salt. So we have different ideas on that. And now, I'm gonna let those go boil. All right. So, the next thing I'm going to talk about, this is how my mom did applesauce. Right? Out of the bottle. And I only have this, I prefer to make my own. I only have this because my youngest had their wisdom teeth out and wanted applesauce as something to eat that they didn't have to chew. Instead, I'm going to do a pork tenderloin, which I did take out of the package. Now, this is what my mom used to make all the time. My mom used to make this, which is a pork loin. This one's about 4.5 pounds. But when it's just, you know, Robbie and I eating here, this is a lot of food to eat. So I prefer a pork tenderloin. Pork tenderloin is usually it's between 1 and 2 pounds. It is a different cut of meat, and I think it has a little more flavor than the pork loin. You do cook them very differently. The pork loin you want to cook low and slow. Sorry, Rocky is entertaining himself over there. For the pork tenderloin, you want to cook it at a high heat and cook it a little bit faster. So let me get this out, since I failed to prepare that today. And by the way, I have the oven set at 425. And so when you're doing pork tenderloin, you usually do it 425 to 450 usually. All right, let me see. How do I feel about au gratin potatoes? I mean, what's not to love? Lots of butter, potatoes, some onions. I mean, that's really yummy. And that was from Ashley Yamato. And then Kelsey, of course, says that I made the kitchen perfect after she moved out of the house. So that is also true. So let me get this out. So much fun. Okay. I didn't get paper towels yet, did I? And I'm gonna put this out just to dry it a little bit on the paper towels. What was that sound? That was the fire? Okay. And okay, so now I'm gonna wash my hands. I'm gonna let that sit there, and we're gonna work on the filling that's gonna go into the pork tenderloin. I was informed at the beginning of the pandemic we're supposed to, wash our hands while singing the ABCs. Alrighty. We still all there? Okay. Let's see here. Is Polte my build, or we have the same backsplash? So Navitam, no, actually, this is the kitchen I designed. The kitchen that was here before had the same tile on the counter, on the floor, on the backsplash. Everything was the same, like 12-inch tile that was really ugly that I could not wait to get rid of. Okay, so for my filling, instead of having applesauce out of a jar, I'm gonna make a filling inside the pork tenderloin that has apples in it. So I'm going to use, in my filling, I'm going to use some apples, I'm gonna use pancetta, and I'm also gonna use some fresh sage that I just got out of my garden a little bit ago. And I was trying to decide what apple I'm gonna use here because I've got a whole bunch of different ones. And I think I'm gonna stick with the Fuji Apple if I can figure out where it is. I have a lot of apples here because depending on what you're cooking will depend on kind of like the tartness or the sweetness of the apple you want. And also some apples stay more firm, and I like to have that kind of bite when you're in your food. So I don't like it to get all mushy. So first thing I've got to do is, yes, good, I got to peel this. Okay. So I grew up eating pork and beef. My dad did not eat fish other than lobster tails, which we could not afford, so we never had them. And he would not eat chicken unless it was fried. So the only chicken I ever had was fried. And I always had some form of pork or beef for the most part. If my dad was out of town, we might have tuna melts. So that was the extent of my fish days. So if you see me doing stuff that's home cooked or kind of like something I learned from my mom or my grandma, it's almost always going to be pork or beef because that's what we ate all the time. Okay, so this is a Fuji apple. I like Fujis, they're pretty tart, but they're also sweet at the same time, and they stay really firm when you cook them. So I don't have my chat over here, but I'll go check it in a minute. So I'm gonna just kind of do these in chunks. And by the way, if you're holding a knife, if you're new to cooking and don't cook very often, this is not the handle you're supposed to hold when you're cutting. You're supposed to actually hold the blade. This is for balancing. I didn't really learn that until I was in my mid to late 30s. So I have been cutting raw for the longest time on everything. We'll do one more chunk here. At the apples. Oh, and the other thing I want to put in here was shallots, which I just remembered because the shallots are sitting in front of me. So I'm going to do the shallot. What am I doing? Okay, let me do that. I've tried to be organized. Robbie's watched me cook, and most of the time I'm running around the kitchen like crazy as I'm trying to cook. So I'm gonna put, these shallots are huge, so I'm only gonna put about a half a shallot in. I couldn't believe it. I went to the grocery store. They were out of shallots. I had to go back to the grocery store when they came in. I don't think that's ever happened to me, ever. I did once hear, don't use an onion when a shallot will do. And so I really love shallots because I don't know about you, but so many recipes call for like half of a medium onion or, you know, 1 cup of onion or something like that. And then you've got another half of an onion. And then for me, I forget about it. It goes in the drawer, goes to waste. So I like shallots because you use the whole thing, even though I just said I was only using half of this. All right. So for this, I'm just gonna get in here, and my knives aren't sharp. I need to take them in and get those in there. All right. So now let's get that filling going. Let's put a little bit of olive oil in here and get that heating up. And while that's heating up, I'm going to answer some questions or see what's going on with you guys. Let's see here. Somebody said hi to Rocky. Hi, Rocky. Hi, Rocky. Does anybody want to see Rocky? See what the Velociraptor looks like? Let's see. Yeah, using a shallot is really good because you don't waste all of that. I love shallots, and they're a little bit sweeter than most of the onions are. You want to show? Here's Rocky. There you go. Now he's jumping for you. We'll see if he can behave. And then you want to show the other one that's in doggy timeout over there? No.
He's too sleepy.
He's too sleepy? Okay. Otis is just sleeping, so apparently he's not too cute. So, alrighty. It is not ready. It's not hot enough yet. Alright. We'll let that sit for a second. So, normally I'm just talking to myself in the kitchen, so this is really not much new. So, it's not a cage for him. He goes in there basically when we need him to. It's bigger than his kennel, and so when he needs to just kind of be out of the way for a little bit, he'll go in there. But most of the time, he has the run of most of the downstairs except my office because he likes to eat books and rocks. When we got him, his name was already Rocky, so his name was already Rocky, and it's a very good name for him because he literally brings in rocks from the backyard and chews on them, and sometimes eats the smaller ones. So he likes to eat books, cords. What else does he like to eat?
Everything.
Everything? Yeah, pretty much everything. All right. So don't do like I'm doing, which is use your knife on your cutting board. It makes it less sharp. All right, there's some pancetta. Nothing better than smelling some onions and some bacon or pancetta starting to cook. Yummy. Okay. Do I need to put this more towards me? Latin's girl asked, do I use Vidalias instead of their sweet chew? Sometimes. If I have something where I want a sweeter onion and I need more of it, I might use it, like in particular like a salad or something like that. I use red onions a lot. I love those in salads. So, and then sometimes I just get on a kick and I have a lot of something, so I just use it. I use it a lot. So let's see here. I was using the back of the blade of the knife too, so that worked well. I know, don't you wish you could smell through the screen right now? Because it's starting to smell really good. right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick these apples in here because I really don't want my onions to like get too brown. I'm gonna put some salt in there. I'm going to do some, where did I put the sage? Oh yeah, the sage from my garden. That smells so good. All right. So the other thing I'm going to make other than mashed potatoes and the pork tenderloin tonight is I'm going to make peas. And I'm not doing anything special with them because my mom never did anything special to them. We just bought frozen peas, and that was a side dish you just had to have with your mashed potatoes because you eat them with mashed potatoes. But I'll demonstrate that later in case you never got the wisdom from your mom about the correct way to eat peas. So, all right. Somebody should invent smelling through the screen because I love watching a lot of different chefs on television. And I think it's really funny because right now, if you watch some of them, they are having the chefs cook and talk about their food and then gauging who won based on their description of their food and what it looked like on the plate, which I think is kind of funny. All right. So now I'm going to add the sage in here. And I think the other thing, this used to drive my mom nuts, by the way, because my mom was a recipe follower, and she would take the recipes and change them a little bit, but she would write exactly on the recipe card or in the cookbook, half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of stuff, and I'm more of like, this looks like the right amount. You know what would be good in this? How about a little Dijon mustard? My mom would be like, that's not on the recipe. But I think what I love about food and what I love about being in the kitchen is almost everybody has some story about food, whether it's a happy one or a sad one or both. The smell of foods brings memories back for so many people. I know for me there's certain smells, pork tenderloin being one, but certain, especially like around the holidays, certain smells that remind me of people who may not be with us anymore, or family, or warmth, or gratefulness. And so that's one of the things I love about food. The other thing I really love about food is that it's creative and playful, and I think people should just play in the kitchen. I mean, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I've made plenty of dishes. Even some, Robbie will tell you he's loved everything I've made, but he's lying, because there have been stuff where we've gone, yeah, that's okay. It's not a failure. I just know one more way not to cook something. We can see that. Okay. I'm going to evacuate this mix into something else. And then we're going to get the pork tenderloin ready to stuff. It's gonna take forever. Using this small spoon. Doesn't that smell good? Can you smell that? And it's a pretty simple filling. Another one of my favorite fillings. Okay, so one thing I love about pork loin and pork tenderloin is pick some of your favorite foods. Maybe not ice cream, and especially like if you pick some fruit and then something savory like a bacon or whatever, you can put anything in it really pretty much. So I love doing like pears with brown sugar and pancetta, or gosh, one of my new favorites is, for those of you who are on my Facebook page have probably seen, is the Cuban. So it's like everything that's in a Cuban sandwich, but it's inside the pork tenderloin. It's okay. All right. I wish I could keep this on. Let's see here. Pack and bake. Okay. So we're gonna take this pork tenderloin. And get it ready so that we can put the filling inside of it. Now, when I first learned how to do this, actually, I need to get the silver skin off. We don't want the silver skin, it's kind of tough. So this, if you've never done a pork tenderloin before, if you have, you know this, but get this kind of silvery looking skin off of your pork tenderloin. See, this is all the stuff I could have prepped, but then I won't be able to talk about it. All right, so we're gonna get all that off of there. Get some of that extra fat off. I also like pork tenderloin because it's really pretty lean. I'll just stick that in there. Okay. So, when you are cutting the pork tenderloin, when I first learned it, they just had me cut down the middle of the pork tenderloin this way. So you want to cut down, but not all the way to the bottom. Like leave a little bit there, okay? And then I was told, now cut those in half the same way, and then flatten the pork tenderloin. And life became so much easier when I was stuffing pork tenderloins. All right, so we've got that cut. Washing my hands, singing my ABCs in my head. Actually, I'm not. I'm singing the do mana mana song in my head. That one is more fun. Let's see. Kelsey's asking me what I'm making for her next time. She's, whatever you want, sweetheart. I'll make you whatever you want. You just tell me, okay? I'm going to assume that if your husband is with you, steak is going to be on the agenda at least one night. All right. Most people probably have a meat mallet somewhere that they barely ever use. I like this one. I just got it a couple of months ago, and I like it better than the mallets. This one right here. But if you don't have a mallet or you don't have one of these, you can always use a really heavy pan. And we're going to flatten this out. You can see how that might be a little easier to roll things up in than just having a slit across the top. All right. And I'm trying to clean as I go, and I'll tell you what Robbie's really upset about is that he cannot clean the dishes as we go, so all of the dishes will be left afterwards. Which is okay by me, because he's doing it. He's shaking his head over there. I don't know what that means. Also, I did not have this last time. Twine. There it is. I was like, where did my scissors go? So we're gonna got some twine. I usually have music on in the kitchen, but I hear that it's hard to get things past the Twitch people on that. So I may just have to sing random songs while I'm in the kitchen. All right, so now we're gonna take this and roll this. This is a little messy. That's okay. Again, I think it's more important. I know that you see me post, some of you see me post foods online, but honestly, the taste is more important than the way it looks. Most people can probably make something look good, but you want people to eat it as well. And you want them to come back. Like you want your children to come back so that they can eat your food. So most recipes with pork tenderloin are going to tell you to put it directly into the oven, and that's fine. You keep it in the oven at 425, 450 for usually around 20 minutes. They also say to keep it so that it's is well done to that 165. I like mine done less than that. I'm okay if it's a little pink in there. Hopefully the FDA police don't come after me for saying that, but I don't like it when it gets too dried out. I also like to put it in the pan to sear it real fast and get more browning on it before I put it in the oven. So even if I see a recipe that says to put it directly in the oven, I almost always sear it first. Maybe that makes me a bad person, I don't know. No, it doesn't make me a bad person? That's cool. All right. Let's see here. All right, so this is still hot. I'm going to put a little bit more olive oil in there. And I'm going to let this sear. And while that's doing its thing, I'm going to check the potatoes. Oh, actually, you're supposed to do the phenomenal part. I know Kelsey is on the other end of that. That was one of my favorite times, was honestly when both Kelsey and her brother were home, and one was in one room, and one of them started going do-do-do, and then the other one was going manah-manah in the other room. All right. Aladdin's girl is going to clean her cast iron skillet from lunch while she watch. Awesome. Let's see. That twine holder is 200 IQ. Okay. This is going to be good. All right. Let's see here. Still let that brown. I need to check these though. Oh yeah, those are all done. They are fork tender. I don't know if you can see that. Like the fork goes through it pretty easily. Actually, they're close to being a little overdone. All right. So this is where it gets tricky, where I'm trying to do 3 things at once.
Turn it off.
Huh? I know. I need to move some stuff here. Okay. If you notice, I turned itself on because it's a no-touch one, and steam turns it on. So if you ever go to redo your kitchen, keep that in mind, and also keep in mind that if your electricity is off, this does not work. All right, so once your potatoes are cooked, what you're gonna wanna do is put them on a little heat to dry them out. So you don't wanna like necessarily cook them anymore, but you wanna get some extra moisture out of them. I need to turn that up a little bit. I don't know, can you see that's starting to get nice and brown? So while that's going, I'm gonna let that go. Dry those out. We got plenty of time because I still gotta go in the oven. Now I have time to chat with you. All right, so I'm gonna turn that off while we wait for this, and then it's gonna go into the oven. Come on. Oh, and I did not salt this. Or put pepper. I know. I get this over here. You guys chatting about anything over here? Is it Ashley Agamotto? You have the same tongs. I love these. So, Kelsey, I'm glad you ate too. As a mom, I worry about you eating enough food. Hopefully it was good, whatever it was you eat, because I know that you are actually really good at cooking eggs, which sounds weird, but actually a lot of people don't know how to cook eggs. So, Ash is fine. All right, I'll remember that. Thanks, Ash. All right. All right, I've got that going. There's a little brown on there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but we've got that. And my filling's falling out a little because I didn't tie it very well. That's okay. Uh-oh, whining dog. So now I'm going to stick it in my oven. I can set the timer and we'll check it in 15 minutes. Okay, so now I've got my potatoes. So now we're going to work on this part, is making the mashed potatoes. So like I said, cold water, get them to a boil until they're fork tender. Once you drain the water, dry them out a little bit. And now, Robbie's gonna have to bring the camera over. In a minute. Hang on. I don't want to hit you. Or do I? I'm sure. Looking at those dishes. There it is. This is really what I'm like in the kitchen, really. Losing things, can't find things. Okay. So I'm gonna put this on low and let these start to mash. Well, that wasn't low.
Low, huh?
Low, yeah.
Low-ish.
Potatoes. Okay, I'll put this on. All right, I'll do that. So I'll let that go, and we're gonna go grab some butter and some milk. And I'm going to very carefully close my refrigerator door. Because if you're wondering what that cup's there for, our ice maker's broken, so sometimes it just randomly decides you need a bunch of ice on the floor, which is fun. All right. So here's an important tip to make nice, creamy mashed potatoes. It is to make sure that your milk is hot when you put it in. Beyond that, the texture you want for your mashed potatoes is completely up to you. So if you want it to be creamier, you'll put more milk in it. If you want it to be less creamy, you want it to be more like mounds of potatoes, then you put less milk in it. I like something in between. All right, the milk's going in here. Rocky is barking. Do you think he would behave? No.
I mean, maybe.
Okay. So while those potatoes are hot, we're just going to put a little bit of butter in them. This is not health food. I'm not making health food today. So just going to put a little. Oh my goodness. Let's see if he'll behave if we take him out. The answer is probably no. Okay. Okay. Things are ringing. Things are all over the place. Are you keeping up with me? Am I making you dizzy? Let's see here. Let's see. Ash asked me, what am I making? Or is she asking somebody else what they're making? I mean, I know what I'm making. Some mashed potatoes. And do you see the, where have I left my spatula? Okay. Do you see it anywhere? No? Me either. So I'll just get another one, because you don't mind me washing too. Okay. Oh, that's looking pretty good. When you have hot milk, you definitely want to make sure you're on low speed to put it in so you don't get splashed with, you know, hot milk. Is that a good texture, or do you want it creamier than that?
That looks good.
That looks good? Okay. But, all right. So mashed potatoes were one of those things that took me a little longer to master, because it's not that they're difficult. It's like a lot of those foods where it looks so simple, but you got to practice, like, I don't know. Rocky. By the way, if you're wondering why we call him Rocky the Velociraptor, it's because he always tests the system like velociraptors in Jurassic Park. He's always checking, can I reach something? Is this open? Is this locked? Can I get through here? Is that closed? Okay. All right, our guys are on. Look how quiet it is. Alrighty, so these I think are pretty ready to eat, so we'll just leave them over here so they can stay as warm as they can. And peas, I guess that's the next thing, huh, is peas. So I have a lot of good memory of peas, just because I remember eating them with mashed potatoes on the fork, which sounds weird. I know that that's a happy memory for me. But the other thing I remember is when my mom went out of town when I was about 5 years old, and my brother was about 3, and my dad was a great griller. Now, my mom might have disagreed, because she often would yell at him and say, "You're overcooking it," but he actually was really good. So while she was gone, we obviously had everything was grilled, except one night he decided that he was going to make frozen peas, except he didn't put any water in the pot, and so he burned the frozen peas. And so that was a long running joke in the family, is how my dad burned frozen peas. But that's what we're gonna make tonight. I probably don't need to teach you anything about that, you know, just water, peas, salt. Seriously, nothing fancy. All right, so we'll let that go. Okay. So since we've got, I don't know, about 7 or 8 minutes until stuff is kind of done around here, do you guys have any questions? Okay, so Aladdin's girl asked me, what kitchen attachments do I have for my, I'm guessing my KitchenAid mixer. So I have the whip and the dough hook and a couple of different paddles for the inside of it, but I also have an attachment that will slice vegetables in big sheets, so you can do some kind of cool things with it. I haven't mastered that yet, and I have a pasta attachment on it to flatten the dough, and then the one to cut like spaghetti and linguine and things like that. And I think that's it. I've been trying to convince Robbie that we need the ice cream attachment, and and he's laughing at me. I know he would love it, and I think that's the problem, is that we might love that attachment, might love it just too terribly much and have to go get new wardrobes. So, so those are the only ones I have for it right now. So, do you guys have any attachments on your KitchenAids, if you've got one that you just absolutely love? So, yeah, that one for the vegetables kind of cool. So like if you're doing something with like cucumber and you want nice long slices of cucumber, it'll come out in sheets. Or if you want to make lasagna from like, say, zucchini sheets instead of pasta, you can do that. I was told there would be punch and pie. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. Neo-Mechasonic. Yeah, I missed out on the pie. Aw. I love pie. Actually, if I could get my cousin down here, she's got my grandma's pie crust down to a science. She's so good at it. I make a pretty good pie crust, but hers just flat out beats my pie crust. So, and we use the same recipe. She's just better at it. It's a technique thing. So, what is my favorite pie? That is asked by Ash again. My favorite pie is strawberry rhubarb pie, but I really don't hate any pie at all. On the end of the not my favorite spectrum would probably be like coconut cream, but pretty much anything else is fair game. But I like the fruit pie, so I like strawberry rhubarb, I like apple pie, especially Dutch apple pie with all the cinnamon crumble top to it. So, let's see, Aladdin's girl says she loves her meat grinder. I was thinking of getting a meat grinder, and Robbie always rolls his eyes at me when I say that. Well, he says he's not, he doesn't. He gave me a look like, I didn't do that. So, pumpkin pie is awesome. Yeah, apple pie. I have to make, for Thanksgiving every year, I have to make apple pie, pumpkin pie, and chocolate pie. Those are the three that have to make it on the menu. So, oh, Ash doesn't like lime pie. Key lime pie can be really good. Is that one of your favorites? No, it's not. Why did I think it was? No. You see him, he's doing this a lot to me. So, I'm gonna put some salt in here. All right. So what I love about cooking is like sometimes it's like really slow like this, and other times you're running around in 8 directions, or maybe that's just me. You know. Pineapple tarts. I don't know that I've ever had pineapple tarts. Hey, you are not allowed up there. You're not allowed up there. So what are some of your, I'm curious for you, about like, what are some of your homemade favorites, like either your grandma or your mom used to make, or somebody else, like your neighbor's mom? What are some of those things that you're like, oh, wish I could have that right now? Yeah. No pancetta for you. Where's your puzzle? Where's your puzzle? Your puzzle has pancetta in it. He's not spoiled or anything at all. He's so spoiled. He's so spoiled. So the story behind how we got Rocky, our neighbor, did a pandemic puppy. You know, hey, we're all here at home. Let's get a puppy. And then they were like, puppies are hard. And puppies are hard, so they said that it just wasn't going to work for them because of their schedule, so I took them. And when we took him to training, I told the trainer, I was like, he's half Maltipoo, 1/4 Velociraptor, and 1/4 goat. And she goes, okay, let me get that into the system. He's half Maltipoo, and I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure you don't want to put Velociraptor and goat in there. They might look at you funny when they pull up his profile. So, and funny enough, he doesn't listen too much around here, but when we go to training, he's actually really good. He listens really well. So maybe he should just stay there. If I could just live at the training center where there are all sorts of toys. Ooh, blueberry pie, especially with those fresh blueberries. You ever had Maine blueberry pie? Because that's good. Those Maine blueberries are good. Woo. I don't think I put salt in it yet, did I? I did? Oh, okay. That's why I have you. So, here's what I love about Robbie, because he's like my calendar, my to-do list, my must-see movie list, my dishwasher, wood-bringer inner. Yeah. He really doesn't say much. Okay. I'm going to check this and see what the temperature is and see if we're close. He also finds things for me that are right in front of my face that I don't see. Actually, I think it's pretty good. It's reading at about 157. There's another one of those. Look at that. Doesn't that, like, look at that. Yum. Yum. Okay. So I'm going to have raw meat on here. Get those extra apples off of there. Put that in there. Joyce, if you're watching, I am going to package those up and put them away. I'm not going to throw them away. Because I'm pretty sure I'd hear about that later if I did. So. No? You don't think so? Okay. So we're going to let that rest for a couple of minutes. That allows the juices to get back into the meat, so when you cut it, you don't end up with, like, you know, the juice all over the board and not in your meat, so your meat doesn't dry out. While we watch this pot boil. I think that's how the saying goes, right? A watched pot always boils? No? All right. And I'm going to rinse out the strainer, the colander. It just had potatoes in it. Okay, so let's see here. Ooh, if I had a meat grinder, I could make liver pate. You love that stuff? Do you know, I grew up on Braunschweiger. So it wasn't liver pate, but it was liver, you know, stuff. And we would have Braunschweiger sandwiches. We'd toast it and have some mayonnaise and then the Braunschweiger on it. And my friends thought we were crazy. But I love that stuff. It's so good. Oh, somebody said it wasn't fun to pick blueberries. I've only picked blueberries one time, but down the road from where I grew up, there was there were blackberries, and so we'd always go pick blackberries, and my mom would make little blackberry tarts for us out of that. Let's see, Aladdin's girl said one of her favorites was her grandma's blueberry pie from the blueberries picked in the woods with the ice cream. Gravy is an arch nemesis, meaning you don't make it well or you don't like it. That's what you gotta wonder when you say it's your arch nemesis. So, anybody else? What are some of your favorite dishes? Or what's something you would like to learn how to cook? Because I love the science as well of food. I think it just kind of hits like all those things I really like. So I like learning about why you want to cook something a certain way versus another way, or how it changes the chemistry by doing things. So I like to read a lot of Kenji and watch Alton Brown, because they teach a lot of that, and I like the history too. It never turns out right. Yeah. Cameraman Robbie, Grandma Benda won second place with liver pate recipe.
I guess it's good then.
Yeah, I guess it is. So, and that was from your Aunt Jolene. So, chicken cordon bleu. Oh, that's so good too. Yeah. Who doesn't like ham and chicken and cheese? I guess there are people out there who don't, but I think it's yummy. Okay. I have not burned these peas, so that's good. I'm a little bit more cooked than my dad. All right, give those one more minute. We'll start, actually, I'll do this. Okay, I'm gonna put some butter on that. I think it needs a little more salt. I know you don't think so, probably. I like salt way more than Robbie does. It's probably why he has good blood pressure and I do not. Okay.
It's true.
So, I got the ice cream in now. All right, I can take the strings off here. And we'll cross our fingers about this. Any questions while I'm cutting this to answer? No? Okay. All right. Oh, look at that. That's cooked awesome. It's falling apart. But it'll still taste really good. How about if I do it that way? Do it that way. Ah, better. Okay. And now, I'm sure Robbie is hungry. He's used to eating at like 5:30 here, 5:36. Give you some of that. And give you some of that. And give you some peas that are not burned. I bet you need a fork, huh? Can I get you a fork and a knife? You want to show the plate? Since I just kind of threw it at you. There you go. I'm going to make my plate because I have to show you how you're supposed to eat your peas. pork on mine in a second, but this is an important thing you have to know. I think I taught my kids how to eat peas this way too, but Kelsey can maybe confirm that for me if she's still hanging on there. You have to get the mashed potatoes on your fork like this, and then you put them in the peas like this, and that's how you're supposed to eat mashed potatoes and peas. Because my mom told me so. So it's gotta be true. All right, taste your pork. We'll turn the camera around. He's shaking his head no, but I'm saying yes. You know why? Because I think a bunch of your aunts are watching.
Very good.
Yeah? Good? Seal of approval? Okay.
Totally worth all that work that I didn't have to do.
You had to stand there with the camera. That's something, right? All right. So that is dinner for tonight, and I actually got it done in an hour. I was really surprised because I was giving myself some extra time here tonight. Do you guys have any other questions or anything else for tonight? If not, I'll tell you we're going to be back on Sunday. I have not decided what I'm making yet, but I'll try to post that on Twitch, and I'll definitely put it on Facebook for those of you who are on Facebook with me. Sometimes I mix the food together, Joyce. Yeah. But for the mashed potatoes, this is the proper way to do it. I did not make dessert for tonight. But if that is something you guys are interested in trying to see if I can do that in an hour and a half, not being a chef, I can try to do that. It might just be a bowl of ice cream. I mean, I could do that right now. I could do a bowl of ice cream with some strawberries on top of it, but that's about the extent of what I can do right now. All right. So, well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a lot of fun, and that's the whole idea of this for me, is just to get in here and have fun and chat with you guys. And I'll get better at this as I go along. Yeah, so thanks for coming, and go eat dinner. Go eat some dinner and enjoy it. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.